In a previous video, we discussed the effect carbohydrates have on our metabolism. In short, carbohydrates decreased our metabolism, and reducing carbohydrate intake gave a pretty significant boost to our metabolism. For the exact numbers and details, I'd recommend that you revisit that video. But then I did the unthinkable. I teased you with a caveat, a defining feature that makes the above results about carbohydrates a moot point for some and a strong effect in others. So let's discuss the nuance. The researchers of the study we investigated decided to break up the three groups, the low carbohydrate, moderate, and high carbohydrate, into three more groups. They really love groups. Now, the researchers have split everyone up based on their insulin levels that were measured before they were placed into each carbohydrate group. That means before these people changed their diet, the researchers measured their insulin levels. After being on their respective carbohydrate diet for 20 weeks, the researchers went back and took the insulin data and cross-analyzed it with the changes in metabolism for each individual. So they now have a low insulin group, a moderate insulin group, and a high insulin group compared against the overall metabolism change by carbohydrate consumption. What did they find? They discovered that people that had low insulin levels experienced little to no change in their metabolism from the consumption of carbohydrates, even at large amounts. Now, it is entirely possible the study didn't have enough participants to show a difference, but regardless, at best, the effect is small. We see that illustrated here, and the bar is the average, and the dots are the individual participants. If we compare the extremes, the high carbohydrate group represented by the pink dots and the low carbohydrate group represented by the purple, there is little difference between the averages. However, entering into more moderate or higher insulin levels, the effect becomes more pronounced, meaning that carbohydrate metabolism effect became apparent. As you can see, the high carbohydrate group experienced the reduced metabolism, and the low carbohydrate group experienced the increased metabolism, generating a net effect of a larger difference between the two, like two trains traveling opposite directions can create more distance between them. So, what does that mean for you? Well, it means that if you were to get your insulin levels checked, especially if you did it in the same way that they did in this study, which is through a 30-minute oral glucose tolerance test, and you fall in one of these groups, you'd be able to determine which diet type would be best for you. If you have a low circulating insulin level, defined as under 90 micro-international units per milliliter, then it likely won't make a huge difference, and you can easily still consume a high carbohydrate diet without penalty to your metabolism. However, if you have elevated circulating insulin levels defined as above 90, but certainly anything above 150 micro-international units per milliliter, then opting for a lower carbohydrate diet would benefit you through a faster metabolic rate. This additional analysis implies circulating insulin levels make a difference on diet choice, assuming you care about maximizing your metabolic rate. As such, for individuals with low circulating insulin, the choice of nutrition is open-ended and incurs little to no metabolic penalty. However, for those with higher circulating insulin, a lower carbohydrate diet is better suited for preserving an increasing metabolic rate. That all said, you might be wondering to yourself why there is this discrepancy. What causes these differences? What causes this metabolism dampening by carbohydrates? Well, fortunately, I've done some digging and I can offer you a few potential mechanisms. So let's sink our teeth into understanding how these effects occur. Speak to you then.